Music Theory Fundamentals, Lesson 3, Note Time Values. In the previous lesson, you learned that where notes appear on the staff corresponds to pitch and the names of the notes. So now you need to learn that the way a note looks represents rhythm, or the amount of time you will hold each note when you play or sing it. How notes are drawn corresponds to their time value, or the length of time they are held by the performer. Every note has a note head, either filled in, black, or open, white. Note heads are oval and tilted up slightly to the right. When the notes are placed on a clef, the note heads in spaces just touch the lines on either side of the space, while the notes on lines are just large enough to fill half of the space on either side of the line. Notes can also have stems and flags or beams. The note stem is a thin line that extends either up or down from the note head. The line extends upward from the right side of the note head or downward from the left side of the note head. You will never see this the other way. For example, upward from the left side or downward from the right side. You'll never see that. On a staff, stems typically extend to the line or into the space that is one octave below or above the note head. As a rule, any notes at or above the middle line on the staff have downward pointing stems, while those notes below the middle line have upward pointing stems. A note flag is a curvy mark to the right of the note stem. Each flag added to a note stem reduces the time you hold the note by half. When we combine the note head, stem, and two flags, we end up with a 16th note that looks like this. Why a 16th note? Let's take a closer look. Remember that whether a note's head is filled in or open, and whether or not a note has stems or flags, shows us the note's value, or how long that note should be held. An open note that looks like an O without a stem is a whole note, and it gets held for 4 beats. An open note head with a stem is a half note, and it gets held for 2 beats. You can play 2 half notes in the same amount of time you could play 1 whole note. Here's where music is like math. We're pretty much doing fractions. A closed note head with a stem is a quarter note, and it lasts 1 beat. 2 quarter notes last the same amount of time as a half note, and 4 quarter notes last the same amount of time as a whole note. Faster notes are notated with either flags, like the ones we saw earlier, or with beams between the notes. Each flag halves the value of a note, so a single flag signifies half a quarter note. In this case, an 8th note. We can use beams instead of flags to make the notes easier to read and group. 2 8th notes last the same amount of time as 1 quarter note. A double flag halves the 8th note to a 16th note, lasting 1/4 the amount of time as a quarter note. You can continue having the duration of a note by adding more flags, 32nd notes, 64th notes, etc. However, notes with 3 or more flags or beams are not often used. Let's see what these note values look and sound like when they're written on a staff. I'm going to play each note on the piano so that 1 beat or 1 quarter note value happens each second.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hopefully you can see and hear the way the notes double in speed each 4 beats, or measure. We can also see this pattern of decreasing note durations in this note value chart. You may want to come back to this chart for reference and practice drawing some notes of your own. To review, how notes are drawn corresponds to their time value, or the length of time they are held by the performer. Every note has a note head, and notes may also have stems and flags or beams. To truly master note time values, you will want to memorize how the following notes are drawn and how many beats or fraction of a beat they last: whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, and 16th note. The next lesson will be on rests, or moments of silence in music.